In 1858 was set up a royal commission on popular education in all the nation. The commissioners at their discretion were to arrange examinations to obtain information from every direction to the exclusion of none, to call upon physicians, musicians, and educationalists of every class to take depositions when necessary, and briefly to review the general situation so as to secure satisfaction beyond all mere generalization, and show if there had been progression or retrogression. The commissioner's work was sensational in the facts brought out. There was ample justification for the commission, and the adoption of the commissioner's advice was followed by an alteration in the general scheme of national education para. Lord Macaulay was blessed with the possession of rare powers of memory. His accumulation of facts was immense. He was almost in a state of subjection to his memory, and a subjective examination of the information in his possession at any time would have been a revelation even to himself. The retention and repetition of figures, the manipulation of facts in discussion, the selection and citation of authorities caused him no hesitation. He was to have been a barrister, but the legal profession had no fascination for him. Macaulay took a share in the promotion of education, but his reputation rests mainly on his famous essays. His criticisms brought him into opposition with several fashionable authors, and his expositions occasionally produced bitterness in opposite factions para. Dear Sir, I am surprised to hear of Mr. Hugh Hammer's opposition to the highly reasonable views taken by Professor Hawkins on the syllabus in history. Professor Hawkins, I believe, does his best in all circumstances to help his pupils and to adhere to the scheme of history lessons which deals with the extension of commerce and with all forms of man's activity. He is heedful of every circumstance which may affect the coherence of history and the historic belief expressed in the phrase commerce follows the flag. There can be no misapprehension of his meaning, and none but a blockhead would be likely to misapprehend him. He shows how the upheaval of war, though harmful to humanity in other ways, may help a nation's commerce. I humbly hope Mr. Hamer may behave reasonably and cease to harass Professor Hawkins in his historical course. Yours truly, Para. Dear Sir, the heavy mahogany table for your new home, Hillside Woodhouse Lane, is ready for delivery at any time when we hear from you. We hope to have the hangings fixed tomorrow and the curtains hung by Wednesday next. The new hammocks and hassocks are almost ready and they will be delivered next week. Our van may be in your neighborhood on Monday, in which case you shall have the hall chairs and the whole of the small household things then, but for a mishap at our Harley works, you would have had the hair cushions for the settee before this. We hope, however, to receive them on Friday and to deliver them with the other things on Monday. Yours truly, Para. To secure the best from himself and to give right service to others, both the clerical worker and the manual laborer must have fresh air and healthy rooms to live in, bright, airy rooms into which the sun's rays may pour and the breezes blow when desirable. Dark rooms retain germs of disease and either reduce the worker's life or weaken his physical strength so as to make him unable to do severe work either of brain or muscle. A robust man may carry on for a time in dreary rooms, but eventually such places must cause injury to him and bring on loss of force and energy. He will arise in the early morn dull and weary from the outset in place of rising merry and bright and ready for anything in the day's work. In our opinion, the brighter the rooms we live and work in, the better our work is likely to be, Para. The food eaten by man bears something like the same relation to his power of working as the coal thrown into the furnace bears to the engine which drives the rotary press or draws the train. The power in our arms or in our brains is rightly said to be produced in our stomach, and it is from the same organ we derive the force necessary to rouse us to severe exertion in the earning of the wage or salary we receive for our services. Something of the value of our work rests upon the a strength producing value of our food. At all costs and by all means we should take measures to ensure the food value of everything we eat, Para.